My name is Diego, and I was there when Jason's story changed forever. It was the morning of April 15th, 2023, in a small cafe downtown, where the aroma of freshly brewed coffee mingled with the scent of rain on the pavement. Jason sat across from her ex-husband, a man she once loved fiercely. As she stood to leave, her heart raced, echoing the tension in the air. She smiled, but her eyes betrayed a storm of emotions, reflecting her inner strength as she faced the man who once held her heart captive. The gentle sound of birds chirping outside contrasted sharply with the turmoil brewing within her. She smiled but trembled, caught between a desire for freedom and the weight of her past. How can blood turn to poison like this? What nobody knew was that this encounter would set off a chain reaction that would unravel everything she thought she knew about love and betrayal. And as Jason contemplated her next steps, she couldn't shake the feeling that her journey was just beginning. The thought of a "wife wanted" sign flashed in her mind, not as a desperate plea, but as a symbol of her yearning for a fresh start. She had spent years trying to fit into a mold that no longer served her. And now, standing on the precipice of change, she was ready to rewrite her own story, one where she defined what love truly meant, free from the shadows of her past. The sun began its slow descent, casting a golden hue across the backyard where the grill sat, ready for another evening of BBQ. Jason stood in the kitchen, the familiar scent of marinated chicken wafting through the air, mingling with the fresh aroma of cut grass from the yard. Birds chirped contentedly outside, but inside, an unsettling silence hung between him and Rachel. They had been together for nearly a decade, and yet the weight of unspoken words felt heavier than ever. As Jason stirred the pot of beans simmering on the stove, he glanced at Rachel. She was standing by the window, her arms crossed, staring out at the fading daylight. Her silhouette was framed against the light, and for a moment, he thought about how beautiful she looked, even with the tension that had been brewing between them for weeks. "Hey, you okay?" he asked, trying to break the silence. Rachel turned to him, her expression shifting from contemplation to something resembling frustration. "I just feel stuck, you know? Like we're just going through the motions," she said, her voice tinged with a longing that Jason hadn't heard in a long time. His heart sank at her words. "What do you mean, stuck?" he pressed, already feeling the dread creeping in. "I don't know, it's just, life feels so predictable. The same routine every day. I miss feeling excited," she admitted, her gaze drifting back outside as if searching for something just beyond the horizon. Jason's mind raced. He'd sensed this restlessness in Rachel before, but he never imagined it would manifest into something more significant. Oh my God. "Rachel, we can spice things up. We could try new things, go on a trip, do anything," he suggested, desperation creeping into his voice. She turned back to him, her eyes locking onto his. "It's not just about that, Jason. It's deeper. I don't know if I want to keep living like this." The weight of her words settled heavily in the kitchen, and Jason felt the air thicken with unspoken fears. "What are you saying?" he asked, though he feared he already knew the answer. "I'm saying, I've been thinking about a change. I just want something different," Rachel confessed, her voice barely above a whisper. The smell of BBQ suddenly felt suffocating, the familiar aroma morphing into something bittersweet. Cultural reflection. In the kitchen, it hurt like heartbreak. He couldn't shake the feeling that something was shifting beneath the surface, and the ground beneath him felt unsteady. Jason took a deep breath, desperately trying to hold on to the last threads of their life together. "What kind of change?" he asked, his voice trembling slightly. "I don't know. Maybe someone younger? Someone who doesn't carry the weight of a decade of routine," she said, her words like daggers piercing through his heart. He blinked, processing her words as if they were a foreign language. "You mean, you want to start over with someone else?" Rachel looked away, tears shimmering in her eyes. "I just need to feel alive again, Jason." Jason's heart shattered. He wanted to scream, to shake her back to reality, but instead, he felt a quiet resignation wash over him. The smell of BBQ brought painful memories. They had shared so much, dreams, laughter, even heartbreak, but could it all really be slipping away just like that? Just then, Tyler, Jason's younger brother, burst through the back door, a beacon of energy and distraction. "Hey bro, I brought the drinks," he announced, not sensing the tension in the room. Jason forced a smile, grateful for the interruption. But his mind was still reeling from Rachel's revelation. "Thanks, man," he replied, trying to shake off the heaviness that had settled in his chest. "Rachel, you're joining us for a game, right?" Tyler called out, his enthusiasm unwavering. Rachel hesitated, her eyes darting between Jason and Tyler. "Yeah, I guess so," she finally replied, though her voice lacked conviction. As Tyler began setting up the drinks, Jason excused himself to the bathroom, needing a moment to breathe. He splashed cold water on his face, staring into the mirror, searching for some clarity amidst the chaos of emotions swirling within him. The truth was, he didn't want to lose Rachel. He loved her, but could he really fight against the tide of her discontent? As he leaned against the sink, a thought struck him. A flicker of defiance ignited within. What if he turned this around? What if he surprised her in a way she never saw coming? Jason clenched his fists, determination flooding his veins. Reflection. That moment in the kitchen changed everything. It was time to show Rachel that their life together still held the potential for excitement and passion. He would fight for what they had, and maybe, just maybe, he could remind her of the love they once shared. Taking a deep breath, Jason stepped out of the bathroom, ready to face the evening with a newfound resolve. He wouldn't let the shadows of betrayal consume him without a fight. Jason gazed out the window. "What a beautiful day," she whispered. Rachel noticed her distant look. "You seem lost in thought." As the sun dipped lower in the sky, casting a warm golden hue over the backyard, the smell of barbecue wafted through the air, mingling with the fresh scent of rain-soaked pavement. Jason flipped the burgers on the grill, the sizzle a comforting backdrop to the evening. Wind chimes hung from the porch, dancing gently in the breeze. Their soft tinkling almost drowned out by the distant sound of laughter coming from inside. Yet, despite the idyllic setting, Jason felt a knot tightening in his stomach. Rachel was leaning against the railing, her gaze lost somewhere beyond the fence. Her thoughts seemed miles away, and Jason couldn't help but notice the subtle shift in her demeanor. It was as if a veil had descended between them, one he couldn't penetrate no matter how hard he tried. He cleared his throat, hoping to break the silence. "You know, I was thinking about our anniversary next month," he said, trying to sound upbeat. Rachel turned her head slowly, her expression unreadable. "Oh, right. I guess we should plan something special." There was a hint of hesitation in her voice, as if she was trying to mask a deeper longing. Just then, their friend Karen stepped outside, carrying a pitcher of lemonade. "I brought some drinks. It's a perfect evening for a barbecue," she said cheerily. But her eyes darted between Jason and Rachel, sensing the tension. "Thanks, Karen," Jason replied, grateful for the distraction. He poured lemonade into glasses, the cold liquid a stark contrast to the warmth of the day. As they settled at the patio table, Rachel broke the silence. "I was talking to Maria the other day," she started, her voice soft. "She mentioned something about wishing she could start over. You know, like a new life, new adventures." Jason felt his heart sink at her words. Oh my God, was she really considering that? The phrase echoed in his mind, amplifying his unease. "Start over?" he echoed, his brow furrowing. "What do you mean by that?" Rachel shrugged, her gaze drifting again. "Just, you know, a fresh start. Sometimes I feel like we're stuck in a rut." Tyler's voice rang through the open door from inside, oblivious to the weight of their conversation. "Hey, Jason, did you hear that? Rachel wants to start a new life. Maybe we can plan a trip somewhere tropical." Jason shot Tyler a quick look, silently urging him to back off. This wasn't the time for jokes. But Rachel's reaction was more painful than any punchline. She smiled faintly, but there was something in her eyes that spoke of yearning for more than just a vacation. "Is that what you really want?" Jason asked, his heart pounding. "To just leave everything behind?" Rachel turned to him, her expression softening for a moment. "It's not about leaving you, Jason. It's about finding excitement again. I just feel lost." At that moment, the wind picked up, rustling the leaves in the trees overhead. Jason paused, taking in the gravity of her confession. Cultural reflection. In the backyard, it hurt like hope. "Do you think a younger man could give you that excitement?" he asked, his voice tinged with bitterness. Rachel hesitated, her eyes darting to the ground. "It's not just about that. I just want to feel alive again, you know?" Jason's chest tightened. "But we can work on this together. We've been through so much." He took a deep breath, trying to steady his emotions. "Can't we just talk about what we both want?" Rachel looked at him, and for a moment, he thought he saw a flicker of understanding. "I don't know, Jason. I don't want to be stuck anymore." Tyler, sensing the gravity of the moment, piped up, "You know, bro, sometimes you just have to fight for what you love. Don't let her go without trying everything." Jason nodded, grateful for his brother's support, but also feeling the weight of his own feelings. "I will fight for us, Rachel, but I need to know that you want to fight too." As the words left his mouth, he felt a surge of determination. He couldn't let her drift away without a fight. The wind chimes clinked gently, but the sound felt like a warning bell, echoing in the background of his thoughts. Rachel sighed, and for the first time, she looked straight into his eyes. "I just don't know if I can give you what you want anymore." In that moment, Jason's heart raced. He had to do something drastic to show her the depth of his love, to remind her of what they had built together. Reflection. That moment at the backyard changed everything. "Before you make any decisions, I need to show you something. Just give me a moment," Jason said, the resolve in his voice surprising even himself. As he stepped inside the house, the smell of the barbecue faded into the background, replaced by the rush of adrenaline coursing through him. This was his chance to turn the tide, to reveal the surprise he had been planning for weeks, a last-ditch effort to rekindle their connection before it was too late. Jason stood in the living room, the aroma of grilled burgers wafting in from outside, mixing with the rich scent of morning coffee that lingered in the air. The distant hum of traffic filled the silence, punctuating the heavy atmosphere that had settled between him and Rachel. He could feel his heart racing, a mix of anxiety and determination coursing through him. Today was not just about the burgers. It was about confronting the ever-growing chasm in their marriage. As he paced the floor, a wave of despair washed over him. He couldn't shake the feeling that Rachel was slipping away, drawn to someone who could offer her the excitement he feared he had lost. The thought made his heart sink. "Oh my God, how did we get here?" he muttered to himself, his voice barely above a whisper. Rachel entered the room, her expression unreadable. "You really think we can just go back to how things were?" she asked, her tone laced with skepticism. Jason took a deep breath, the weight of the moment pressing down on him. "I want to fight for us, Rachel. We've been through so much together." She crossed her arms, looking away. "But what if we're just stuck in a loop? I want something different, Jason." "Something? Alive? Alive?" Jason echoed, incredulous. "You think jumping into a relationship with someone younger is the answer? That's not living, it's running away." "Maybe it's not just running away," Rachel countered, her voice rising slightly. "Maybe it's about finding myself again. I can't keep feeling like this." Jason's stomach churned at her words. Finding yourself? At what cost? You think Tyler's okay with this? He glanced at his brother, who had just entered, sensing the tension in the air. Tyler raised an eyebrow, clearly uncomfortable. You know what I've always thought, Jason? He said, his voice steady. You deserve someone who wants to be with you, not someone who's looking for a way out. Rachel shot him a glare. This isn't about you, Tyler. You don't know what it's like to feel trapped. But I do know what it's like to want better for my brother, Tyler replied, his tone firm. He's been trying so hard, and it hurts to see you not even try. Jason looked from Rachel to Tyler, the words hanging heavily in the air. I don't want to lose you, Rachel, but if you're not willing to work on this, what am I supposed to do? Rachel sighed, her resolve wavering. I just need to think. Jason felt a surge of frustration. Thinking won't solve anything. You're just going to run to someone else instead of facing the truth. I'm not running, she shouted, her voice cracking. I just want to feel something again, something real. For a moment, silence enveloped them. Jason felt the weight of the world pressing down on him. He could see the hurt in Rachel's eyes, but he also saw the flicker of uncertainty. In the living room, it hurt like heartbreak. Tyler cleared his throat, breaking the tension. Look, maybe we can find a middle ground. What if we all sit down and talk this out, without the anger? Rachel looked at Jason, searching for something. Hope, maybe? Could we really do that? Talk without it escalating? Jason nodded slowly, feeling a glimmer of possibility. If we're going to do this, we need honesty. No more hiding behind excuses. Just then, the doorbell rang, and Jason's heart raced again. He glanced at Rachel, who seemed equally puzzled. Who could that be? I'll get it, Tyler said, moving toward the door. As he opened it, Jason heard a familiar voice call out, "Hey, I brought some drinks." It was Karen, his best friend, stepping in with a bright smile and bags in hand. "Oh my God," Rachel said, her tone shifting from tense to surprised. "Karen, what are you doing here?" "I figured you could use a little pick-me-up," Karen said, glancing between the three of them, sensing the tension. "But it looks like I walked in on something serious." "You could say that," Jason replied, forcing a smile. "We were just trying to sort things out." Karen's expression softened. "Well, let's not let it ruin the day. How about we all just chill for a bit? Sometimes talking over a drink helps." Jason felt a flicker of relief. Maybe having Karen there would lighten the mood. "That sounds great, actually," he said, glancing at Rachel, who appeared more relaxed. As they gathered in the living room, Jason couldn't shake the nagging feeling that the conversation with Rachel was far from over. But for now, they were together, and maybe that was enough. Suddenly, Tyler spoke up, his voice laced with unexpected conviction. "You know, maybe starting over isn't such a bad idea," he said, looking directly at Rachel. "Sometimes we need a little shake-up to find what truly matters. What if you both took some time apart to really understand what you want?" Jason's heart raced. This was a twist he hadn't expected. "What are you saying, Tyler?" "I'm saying maybe a little distance could help you both see the bigger picture," Tyler replied, his gaze unwavering. Jason felt the ground shift beneath him. Could it be that the very thing he feared, a separation, might actually lead to the clarity they both needed? As he exchanged glances with Rachel, uncertainty mingled with hope. Perhaps this final surprise would lead to a path they both could walk, even if it meant starting anew. The sun was just beginning to rise, casting a warm golden hue across the backyard. The smell of freshly brewed coffee wafted through the air, mingling with the sweet scent of morning dew. Birds chirped cheerfully from the branches above, creating a serene backdrop that felt almost cruel against the chaos brewing within Jason's heart. He stood by the patio table, a plate of pancakes waiting for Rachel, his hands trembling slightly as he poured syrup over the fluffy stacks. "Breakfast is ready," he called out, trying to keep his voice steady despite the storm of emotions swirling inside him. It felt like he was trying to catch smoke with his bare hands. Each moment brought another wave of heartache. Rachel stepped outside, her expression a mix of weariness and uncertainty. As she sat down, Jason noticed the way she fidgeted with her hair, the same way she always did when she was nervous. The backyard, once a sanctuary for them, felt like an arena now, a place where unspoken words loomed heavily between them. "Jason, we need to talk," Rachel said, her voice shaky. He took a deep breath, feeling the familiar tightness in his chest. "I think we do," he replied, trying to sound calm. "I can't keep pretending everything is fine, not anymore." Rachel looked down at her plate, the golden pancakes suddenly seeming less appetizing. "It's just," she paused, gathering her thoughts. "I've been thinking a lot about us, about what I really want, and I don't know if this is the life I want anymore." His heart sank. "Are you saying you want to be with him?" he asked, trying to keep the tremor out of his voice. "Is that it?" She shook her head, her eyes glistening with unshed tears. "It's not just about him, Jason. It's more complicated than that." Her voice faltered as she pushed the pancakes away. "I feel lost. I thought being with someone younger would help me find myself, but it hasn't. It's just made me realize that I'm not who I used to be." Jason blinked, taken aback by her honesty. "Oh my God, I can't believe this. You're saying it's not just about him?" "Yes," Rachel whispered, the weight of her confession hanging heavily in the air. "I thought maybe I could escape how trapped I feel in my own life, but I'm starting to see it's not about running away. It's about figuring out who I really am." He felt a mix of relief and confusion wash over him. "So, what does that mean for us?" Rachel hesitated, her gaze drifting to the birds flitting through the branches. "I think I need some space to figure things out. I've been considering separation." The word hit him like a punch to the gut. "Separation? You can't be serious," he exclaimed, the pain clawing at his throat. "I thought we could work through this together. I thought that was what you wanted." "I did want that," she replied, tears finally spilling down her cheeks. "But I don't know if I can be the person you need right now. I'm not even sure who that is." Jason felt as if the ground had shifted beneath him. He had always thought of Rachel as his anchor, the steady force in his life. Now, it felt as if she were untethering herself from him, drifting into uncharted waters. "So, what? You just want to throw everything away?" "No," Rachel said, her voice rising, desperation creeping in. "I don't want to lose you, but I can't keep pretending I'm okay when I'm not. I feel like I'm drowning, and I don't know how to breathe." In that moment, Jason realized the depth of her struggle. He could see the fear behind her words, the longing for something she couldn't quite grasp. He took a step back, the weight of the situation pulling at his heartstrings. Cultural reflection. In the backyard, it hurt like heartbreak. "Tyler was right," Jason murmured, his voice barely above a whisper. "I've been fighting for a marriage that you're not even sure you want. But I want you to be happy, even if it means letting go." Rachel looked up at him, her expression a mixture of gratitude and sorrow. "I don't want to hurt you, Jason, but I need to find out who I am without you or anyone else dictating that." Jason swallowed hard, the taste of bitterness lingering in his mouth. "I don't want to lose you, Rachel, but I can't hold on if you're already slipping away." As the birds continued to chirp in the background, Jason felt a clarity he hadn't expected. The truth, however painful, was liberating. He could either fight for something that was already fading or allow Rachel the space she needed to discover herself. "Maybe this is what we both need," he said finally, his voice steady now. "A chance to breathe, to figure things out. I'll give you the space, but I won't stop caring about you. I can't do that." Rachel nodded, her eyes filled with tears. "Thank you for understanding. I know this is hard, but I need to do this for me. Jason watched as she took a deep breath, the tension in her shoulders easing slightly. Reflection. That moment in the backyard changed everything. Perhaps this was the beginning of something new, not just for Rachel, but for him as well. The road ahead was uncertain, but for the first time in a long while, he felt a flicker of hope amidst the heartbreak. "I can't believe this," Jason whispered in disbelief. "I can explain everything," Rachel said desperately. The rain began to fall softly, a gentle patter against the pavement, filling the air with that earthy scent that always made Jason feel a little more alive. He stood on the porch, watching the droplets glisten like diamonds against the dark asphalt, lost in thought. The chirping of birds seemed to fade into the background, replaced by the rhythmic sound of the rain. He was waiting for Rachel to finish her session with Karen, the tension in his chest tightening as he prepared for the conversation that awaited them. It was during their therapy session earlier that Jason had experienced a shift. As he listened to the therapist suggest ways to move forward, something clicked inside him. He could no longer focus solely on saving his marriage. He needed to consider his own happiness too. The realization was liberating and terrifying all at once. "Oh my God," he had thought, a wave of confidence washing over him. When Rachel finally stepped out onto the porch, her expression was unreadable. The rain had softened her features, but Jason could see the uncertainty flickering in her eyes. She looked like a ghost of the woman he once knew, and a pang of nostalgia hit him hard. "I can't believe this is where we are," she said, her voice barely rising above the sound of the rain. Jason took a deep breath. The smell of the rain mixing with the sweet aroma of apple pie cooling on the kitchen counter behind him. "We need to talk," he said firmly, trying to keep his voice steady. Rachel nodded, her gaze drifting away, as if she were searching for something in the distance. "I know, but where do we even start?" "How about with the truth?" Jason replied, feeling the weight of his own words. He stepped forward, determination coursing through him. "You want a fresh start, and I get that, but have you thought about what that means for us? For me?" Her eyes widened slightly, a flicker of surprise crossing her face. "What do you mean?" "I mean, I can't just sit here and wait for you to decide if you want to be with me or someone else. I deserve to know where I stand," he said, his heart racing. "And you need to figure out what you truly want, not just for your sake, but for mine too." Rachel crossed her arms, her expression shifting from surprise to defensiveness. "I thought you understood." "I want excitement, Jason. I feel trapped in this life." Jason's heart sank. "And what do you think I feel? I'm the one trying to hold everything together while you chase after a fantasy." His voice trembled with emotion, the rain around them amplifying the tension between them. "I didn't mean to hurt you," Rachel said softly, her eyes glistening with unshed tears. I don't know how to find myself again." "Then let's find ourselves together," Jason proposed, the urgency of the moment pushing him to take a leap of faith. "But it has to be real. No more running away. I need to know if you want to fight for this, if you want to fight for us." She hesitated, biting her lip as she looked at him, a mix of fear and longing in her gaze. "I want to want that, Jason, but I've been so lost. I thought maybe a younger man could help me find my way." The words hung heavy in the air, and Jason felt a pang of jealousy twist in his gut, but he swallowed it down. "Rachel, you don't need someone else to find yourself. You have to embrace who you are, flaws and all, without hiding behind someone else." For a moment, they stood in silence, the rain falling around them like a protective barrier from the world outside. It was as if time had stopped, and the weight of their shared history enveloped them both. "Maybe I need to change too," Jason said quietly, the admission surprising even him. "I've been so focused on keeping things the way they were that I forgot to grow. I want to be the man you fell in love with, but I also want to be someone I can be proud of." Rachel's brow furrowed, and for the first time, Jason saw a glimmer of hope in her eyes. You think we can do that? Only if we're both willing to try, he replied, his voice steady. I want to fight for you, for us, but I can't do it alone. The sound of birds chirping in the distance broke the tension, a reminder that life continued outside their fragile bubble. The rain began to lighten, and Jason felt a flicker of hope ignite within him. Rachel took a step closer, her expression softening. I want to try too, Jason, I really do. As they stood together on the porch, the world around them slowly coming back to life, Jason realized that embracing change wasn't just about confronting the past, it was about opening up to the future together. Jason stood in the backyard, the scent of rain-soaked pavement mingling with the smoky aroma of the burgers still sizzling on the grill. The distant hum of traffic felt like a backdrop to the storm brewing in his heart. He turned to face Rachel, her expression a mix of defiance and uncertainty, as if she were grappling with the weight of her choices. Jason, Rachel began, her voice steady but edged with vulnerability. I don't know if we can go back to how things were. She crossed her arms, her body language defensive, but there was a flicker of something deeper in her eyes. Then let's not go back, Jason replied, his tone sharper than he intended. Let's talk about where we stand now. You made your choice, Rachel. The words tasted bitter on his tongue, like a half-burnt burger he didn't want to swallow. Oh my God, Jason, you can't just throw that in my face, Rachel exclaimed, her voice rising above the soft patter of raindrops. I was looking for something that was missing. She looked away, tracing the outline of a raindrop as it slid down the patio table. You mean you were looking for a younger man, Jason shot back, anger bubbling under his skin. The betrayal felt fresh, like the rain that washed away the remnants of a sunny day. Is that what you think you need to find yourself? A different person? Rachel turned back to him, her eyes wide, glistening with unshed tears. You don't understand. It wasn't just about him. It was about me. I felt suffocated. Jason clenched his fists, the rain tapping against his skin, grounding him. So you thought running off with someone else would help? It just proves how little faith you had in us. In that moment, the storm inside Jason raged as fiercely as the one outside. But as he spoke, he realized he had to dig deeper. He had to fight for what mattered. I've been trying to save this marriage. I wanted to work through our issues, but you turned your back on me. Rachel's breath hitched as she stepped closer, her voice dropping to a whisper. I was scared, Jason. Scared of losing you. Scared of losing myself. The rain intensified, drumming against the roof, and Jason's heart sank as he watched Rachel tremble slightly. He could feel the walls closing in around them, every unresolved issue flooding back like the rain pooling at their feet. Tyler appeared from the side of the house, his face a mixture of concern and confusion. What's going on? He asked, glancing between them. I could hear you two arguing from inside. Just the usual, Jason replied, trying to mask the turmoil swirling inside him. Rachel thinks she needs to find herself with someone else. Tyler frowned, stepping forward. That's not how it works. You don't run from your problems. He turned to Rachel, his voice firm but compassionate. You have to face them. You both do. Rachel met Tyler's gaze, her defenses beginning to crumble. I thought I was making the right choice, she admitted, her voice shaking. But now I feel lost. You think running away will give you clarity? Jason interjected, the pain of betrayal sharp in his voice. You're tearing apart everything we built together. Rachel looked at Jason, her expression shifting from defiance to a dawning realization. I didn't think you'd fight back. I thought you'd just accept it, she said softly, a hint of admiration creeping into her tone. Jason took a deep breath, feeling an unexpected surge of courage. Maybe we both needed to grow, Rachel. You're not the only one who's been feeling trapped. He gestured toward the backyard, where the rain continued to fall. I thought we could weather this together, but it seems like we've both been running from the truth. "Wow," Rachel said, her voice barely above a whisper. "I can't believe you'd actually say that. You're right." The honesty in her eyes made Jason's heart race, and for a moment they were connected in their shared vulnerability. Tyler watched them, sensing the shift in the air. Maybe this is a chance to start over, together, just not in the way you both expected. He glanced at the rain-drenched yard, the transformation evident in their expressions. Jason nodded, feeling the weight of the moment. "We can't go back, but we can figure out how to move forward. No more running." "Can we?" Rachel asked, hope flickering in her voice. "Can we really start over?" "Yeah," Jason said, a tentative smile breaking through. "But only if we face everything together. No more secrets." Rachel stepped closer, the tension between them shifting. "I want that too. I want us to be honest with each other." A sense of relief washed over Jason, mingling with the rain that continued to fall. He never expected to feel this way after the betrayal, but maybe this was their unexpected twist. An opportunity to redefine their relationship, to grow in ways they hadn't imagined. In the backyard, it hurt like betrayal, but it also felt like a new beginning. As the rain poured down, they took their first steps toward healing, hand in hand. The sun crept through the kitchen window, casting a warm glow over the countertops, as Jason stood there, his hands busy kneading dough for an apple pie. The rich, sweet aroma of cinnamon mingled with the fresh smell of morning coffee brewing nearby. He could hear the soft tinkling of wind chimes outside, a gentle reminder of the life that still surrounded him, despite the storm brewing in his heart. As he worked, his mind drifted back to the conversation he had with Rachel just days before. Her words echoed in his ears, heavy with longing for something more, something new. "Oh my God, Jason, I just feel like I'm stuck," she had said, her voice tinged with desperation. It was a cry for help, yet it felt like a dagger to his heart. He had wanted to fight for their marriage, to find a way to rekindle the flame that once burned bright between them. But now, as he rolled out the dough, he felt a new sense of clarity wash over him. He was tired of being the one who was always willing to bend and reshape himself to fit her desires. This was his moment too, and he had to reclaim it. He looked down at the pie crust, the golden dough reminding him that sometimes the best things come from taking time to prepare and nurture. Just then, Tyler walked in, his brother's presence always a source of unwavering support. "What's cooking, bro?" he asked, leaning against the kitchen door frame. Jason shrugged, a small smile creeping onto his face. "Just trying to make something that reminds me of home." Tyler crossed his arms, his expression serious. "You need to talk to Rachel again. You can't let her run off with that kid. Fight for what you have." Jason sighed, the weight of the world resting on his shoulders. "I don't know if I can do that, Tyler. I feel like she wants to start over without me." "Then give her something to think about," Tyler replied, his voice firm. "Show her what she's giving up." Jason nodded, his resolve strengthening. He would show Rachel that he wasn't just going to fade away into the background. He would reclaim his life, starting with that pie. As he slid it into the oven, the warmth enveloped him, igniting a spark of determination. Later that evening, as Rachel stepped through the front door, the scent of freshly baked apple pie wafted through the air. It filled the home with a comforting sweetness, a stark contrast to the bitterness that had settled between them. She paused, her brow furrowing in confusion as she took in the scene. "Wow, you made a pie?" Rachel said, her voice laced with surprise. "Yeah, I thought it might help," Jason replied, gesturing towards the kitchen table adorned with plates and forks. "I wanted to talk." Rachel hesitated, then walked over to the table, her eyes darting between the pie and Jason. "What's this all about?" He took a deep breath, steadying his nerves. "I'm done pretending that everything is okay. I need you to understand what you're really asking for when you think about starting over." "What do you mean?" Rachel asked, her expression softening slightly. "I mean, in this dance of life, sometimes stepping apart is the only way to find your rhythm again. Jason looked into her eyes, searching for any sign of recognition. "But before you decide to take that step, I want you to see what you're giving up. Not just this pie or our home, but the life we built together." Rachel's eyes shimmered, and for a moment he thought he saw a flicker of understanding. "Jason, I know you're seeking excitement, something new," he interrupted, his voice steady. "But I can be that for you. We can be that for each other if we're willing to fight for it." His heart raced as he spoke, the conviction in his words surprising even himself. The smell of the pie seemed to thicken the air, the warmth filling the space between them. Rachel's shoulders slumped, and she looked away, the wind chimes outside playing a soft melody that mirrored the tension in the room. "I just don't know if I can go back." "Neither do I," he admitted, feeling a pang of vulnerability. "But I'm willing to try, aren't you?" In that moment, the silence hung heavy, a mixture of hope and uncertainty. Jason's heart sank, fearing he might have lost her forever. Yet he held on to the glimmer of possibility, the idea that this could be a turning point for them both. Finally, Rachel sighed, "Maybe we need to think about what we really want. I can't just run away." Jason's heart raced with a flicker of hope. "Then let's figure it out together." As they shared the pie, the sweet flavors mingled with the bittersweet reality of their situation. It was a small step, but it felt monumental. Perhaps the rhythm they had once lost could be found again, one slice at a time. Jason realized that the dance of their lives could lead them back to each other, but it would take effort, commitment, and a willingness to embrace the unknown. "Life is full of surprises," he mused, looking at Rachel, "and sometimes the best ones come when you least expect them." And you, on your porch, are you ready to step into the rhythm of your own life? Jason smiled for the first time in days. "Everything will be okay." Rachel nodded. "You're stronger than you know."